Hey, welcome to Wrestling What Ifs, the series where we take your favorite gimmicks, storylines, and rumors, and then we turn them upside down by asking the golden question, what if? Hey guys, welcome back for an invasion edition of Wrestling What Ifs. Yeah, it's what if WCW's top stars had come over with the buyout. Now, it's 2001 and WWF had just bought out its biggest competitor, the WCW, effectively ending the Monday Night Wars. Though many would argue that the war had died with the finger poke of doom, with Vince Russo putting the final nails in the coffin. All that's debatable. What isn't, though, is after the buyout, the top stars of WCW did not join their lower on the card contemporaries. The fans wanted guys like Sting, Lex Luger, and Goldberg, but were instead given Who Are You Booker T, Stalker DDP, and Sean Stasiak. Now, in this episode, we're going to discuss what would happen if the top guys had made the jump and what it means for the future of both the WWF and WCW. Okay, here it goes. The angle starts like in our world with Shane showing up on the final Nitro announcing he owns the WCW. At Backlash a few days later, it's Shane McMahon versus The Big Show, and at the end of the match, the WCW locker room invades. Sting, Lex Luger, Goldberg, DDP, Booker T, and Scott Steiner all hit the ring. Now, the next night on Raw, Vince comes out to do a promo about how the WCW stars will never be shown on WWF TV again, but it's interrupted by Shane, who says he has a special video that will turn the tides in his favor. It turns out that the video is of Vince cheating on Linda. Later that night, Linda shows up with lawyers and files for divorce. The show ends once again with Shane and the WCW guys standing in the ring. Now, on SmackDown, it's revealed that due to the divorce, Linda is going to get control of Raw, and Vince is going to get SmackDown. Linda then announces that she's going to rebrand Raw as the new WCW show, calling it WCW Raw Nitro. The following Monday is the premiere of Raw Nitro, and all the big names are there. The matches consist of Scott Steiner versus Lex Luger, Goldberg versus Sting, Rey Mysterio versus Conan, and DDP versus Ric Flair. Vince shows up with his lawyers protesting the event, but is not allowed entry. Now, this is going to continue for the next couple of weeks until Vince convinces Linda and Shane to put up their roster against his. Those matches are going to take place at Judgment Day. The WCW guys are going to go over the WWF stars, but not in a fashion that it's going to make the WWF guys look too weak. In a surprise turn of events, the NWO guys of Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall show up and join forces with the WCW guys in a one-time kind of cross-promotion feud. Those are going to happen for a few months with neither side really getting the upper hand. The WCW brand is still going fairly strong, offering great matches while being able to give younger guys some TV time. Stars with different cross brands for feuds, allowing for an amazing Undertaker versus Sting match, DDP versus Triple H feud, and on the blue brand, there are great matches. You got Brock Lesnar, he's got the entire locker room to feud with, and even goes on to decent match of the year with Goldberg. The companies, they began in 2002 by having a joint Royal Rumble, which is going to allow the winner to choose which company he'll challenge for the title, and it ends with Sting and Stone Cold double elimination, which is set up for a match at the following pay-per-view. It's a WCW pay-per-view. And Sting ends up winning and deciding to challenge for the WWE Championship, but at that moment the WCW Champion DDP shows up and challenges Stone Cold for a match. So going into WrestleMania, you have Sting versus Kurt Angle for the WWE title, and Stone Cold versus DDP for the WCW Championship. Other WrestleMania matches are going to be Ric Flair and Arn Anderson versus Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, Triple H versus Lex Luger, The Undertaker versus Booker T, and Kane versus Scott Steiner. By this time, the fans have gotten used to the cross-promotion matches, so at WrestleMania, Stone Cold becomes the WCW champ and Sting becomes the WWE champ. This allows for the lines segregating the brands to blur, and stars from WCW show up more often on WWE and vice versa. By SummerSlam, the main event is Sting versus Stone Cold in a champion versus champion match to see who is the best of all time is. Now, the match is a no contest as the ECW locker room, which has been quietly performing in OVW, invades the ring and destroys both stars. Paul Heyman enters and says both WCW and WWF are on notice because this is going to be an extreme invasion. This sets up a new angle that allows the fans' favorite WWE and WWF stars to join forces. Ric Flair starts a new Four Horsemen with Batista, Orton, Kurt Angle, who battle RVD, Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, and Raven at Survivor Series, while The Undertaker, Kane, and Sting battle the Dudley Boys, and Rhino and DDP battle Sabu in a street fight. All the success of the WCW guys has allowed some water to flow under the bridge, and at the main event, Macho Man Randy Savage shows up and the crowd pops huge. The invasion continues until the next month's pay-per-view, where the match is a fatal four-way for an undisputed championship. It's Macho Man versus Sting versus Stone Cold versus Rob Van Dam. In the end, Randy Savage goes over, but RVD looks strong in defeat, setting up a singles feud between the two. Sting and Luger team up once again to battle the Dudleys for the tag titles, as Goldberg goes on to feud with The Undertaker, and Sandman and Kane start a feud. ECW stars just kind of blend into the overall mix. The new Four Horsemen set their sights on Stone Cold, who is saved by The Rock as he's returning from Hollywood. I'm sure everyone's wondering where Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Hulk Hogan are in all of this. Those guys have taken time off but returned as baby faces to help out Stone Cold and The Rock. It seems to be a favorable pairing for the good guys, as it's 5-on-4 until Shawn Michaels returns, and the main event for Starrcade 2002 is set up as the Four Horsemen and Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. Now, this allows for a good match with great talent. Nobody's overexposed or risks injury. Now, with the WCW/WWE/ECW doing so well and having room for most of the top talent, that means TNA is still there, but it doesn't get the benefit from the guys like Sting or Macho Man. Ring of Honor is still, of course, there and has the guys like Samoa Joe and CM Punk. Well, there you have it. I know it's kind of a short episode, but to recap, the big WCW stars come over with a buyout, then the WCW brand can live on, allowing for a more satisfying invasion and subsequent feuds. The brands can commingle, and then bring in ECW guys. By today's time, it's just history and nothing else. I'm sure some of you like this and some of you didn't, but as always, whether you think that this can be or it's just a fantasy, it's one fan's opinion of what if. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you like what you saw, comment, subscribe, click that notification icon, and I'll see you next time for another episode of What If.